1974, Howard University made sports history in soccer. The Bison went undefeated and won the NCAA championship. They were the first and only HBCU soccer team to win the national championship. And joining me now is the head coach from that team, Lincoln Phillips, former player Keith LaCoy, and current athletic director Kerry Davis. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
We got a trifecta of greatness here with you. All right, so look, I want to talk about this. This was back then. Soccer's a global game.
Right.
Here in this country, back then, probably not as global, especially when it comes to HBCU. So how big of a deal was this to win that, first of all, to be good in soccer and to win that championship?
Well, back then, professional soccer just started in '68 with the North American Soccer League. And I was one of the players coming in from the Caribbean. You had players from Africa and from Europe coming in to really make the professional league something. And so that was my introduction into the game. The game, the black folks looked at the game as a sissy game, and the white folks the white folks looked at the game as a communist game.
Wow.
And so we had to fight to get through all of that. And I coached one of the teams here in Washington, Washington Darts, for about 3 years. And then I met Coach Chambers, and that's how the Howard thing started. But it was still very rural at that time. And then when we started to play Howard, we had some very talented players from Nigeria and the Caribbean, and so the game was very stylish. So the game took off for a while, and we were responsible for the development of soccer in this area in particular.
Right. Kerry, this was a big deal for Howard University. Talk about the impact that had 1974 to now. Not just at Howard probably, but probably all across the board, because we're talking about the national championship. You beat everybody.
Right. Right, and it's interesting, I was in high school when the '74 team won the championship. And as a matter of fact, I was in the 8th grade when the '71 team won. That was the first time that I had even noticed soccer as being a part of our community. And so I think the impact that both of those teams had, both '71 and '74, had on the black diaspora, if you will, was realizing that soccer was becoming at that point a national sport that African Americans and people who looked like us could compete in. There were no soccer fields in the Bronx, right? So we were playing, basketball and football were our only sports. So I think that team was the inspiration for a lot of young black youth across the world, not just in America, but across the world, realize right, that this could be something that we could excel in.
Right. What kind of impact do you think this will have moving forward? Now, we're talking about this now some 50 years later. Soccer's grown, it's exploded. What kind of impact do you think recognizing all of this will have, not just on Howard, but everybody?
Well, I think one of the things you started out with was the idea of a national championship, right? I mean, I think when I look back even at our other sports and say what is attainable, I talk to them about, I just don't want to win the conference championship or this league championship. I want to talk about winning a national championship. And by the way, this can be done. Look back 50 years later, and it has been done. And so in terms of looking at all of our aspirations, I think, as an HBCU, right, as a proud HBCU member, we now look at the national landscape as the possibility of what can be achieved.
WUSA 9